Victoria here. Welcome to the Bothy Therapy Room, and today you get to see the whole of Gail's Swiss Reflex treatment. So far you've seen it before on this channel in two halves, and now you can sit back and relax and watch the whole treatment. I hope you enjoy it. Please stick around, watch all these series of treatments where I'm going to be putting together the whole treatments for you, and I know you're going to really enjoy watching them in their entirety. Thanks for subscribing. Let's spread a little healing. Right, let's bring you through to the therapy room. So here we come. I've got it nice and low for you if you'd like to sit stroke lie down. Lovely. Okay, I'll just set up the camera. So I'm just going to spritz your feet. I've chosen a nice Rose Otto Hydrolat. We tend to use a different one every time. Have you noticed that? Hopefully. Maybe not. Sometimes I use frankincense, Roman chamomile, lavender, rose, orange or peppermint.
I remember the frankincense.
Yeah. Oh, you liked that one then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll remember that. Smells amazing. Rose, I always say rose essential oil is like having a hug.
Mm.
Maybe even a hug from your mother, one of those really good hugs. Yeah. I'm going to get another one. Ah, we've got frankincense. Good dousing of frankincense there. Okay, so we've done a little rose, a little frankincense, and now we're just going to have a look at your feet to see what we find today. With my lovely feet drawn out at the top there to make notes about Gail's feet. Okay, so first of all just introducing my hands in contact with the nerves, the skin, having an initial feel as to what's going on with the feet. This is before I introduce any cream or oil for the actual treatment. So first of all, I'm going to be assessing the feel of the feet and then doing the assessments over all of the systems of the body. So for instance, we tend to start off with the solar plexus. So my thumb, I'm not doing a caterpillar movement here, I'm doing an initial feel at the solar plexus to see what emotions are doing. Then I'm coming up the thyroid to the parathyroid. That feels good. I'm having a feel of the pituitary gland up in the head. Having a feel of the lung on the right hand side. Now it's interesting, some people's feet, I haven't had this too often, just occasionally, one foot will feel quite different to the other foot. Not necessarily any worse or better, it just has a different consistency to it. So that's the eye on the right side, the ear, which often feels a little bit fragile and susceptible with Gail and with a lot of people, and that's feeling much better than it has in the past. I'm just looking at my old notes. Yeah, that's better. Good. And with Gail's feet, I often notice that one foot does feel slightly different to the other. So I'm currently working on Gail's right foot, on the shoulder blade, the scapula. And this foot often feels more fleshy, that it bounces back when you press, that there is more water here, a good amount of water, not too much. I'm looking at the neck now, so around the right side of the neck and the back of the neck. Now on the, if you were to see the whole neck as a square, it's almost like it's the back right corner is quite tight, coming round to the back. So, and there's a tiny little bit of hard skin on the base of the central part of the neck, which it's an interesting conversation actually, but when, I'm just going to make a note about that. When we find things on the feet, like corns and verrucas and calluses and bunions even, so the shape of the foot, even cuts, bruises and needing operations and things, you have to think to yourself as a therapist, has this come from inside, or is this just an accident that has happened to the foot? So in other words, has it come from a lack of congestion in the meridian, in the energy line coming to that particular part of the foot? And so that's what I'm always considering. So when I find a little piece of dry skin like that, I wonder if it's because it's right by the part of the neck that is stiff and tight, that I can feel, and there's a little bit of dry skin there, and it makes me wonder whether you would also have something like a little bit of dry skin or a raised mole, something like that, very centrally at the back of the neck. Do you know if you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because it's definitely there, tiny little. And I think I noticed it last time, but I don't think I noticed it the time before. So are you aware of that little bit of dry skin there? Do you know about it?
Not particularly, but certainly I know, like when I go to the hairdressers and they comb your hair, I'm always worried that they're going to catch whatever it is that's there. So there is like a little mole or those little tags of skin or something.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so so I've made a note about that. I've now also looked at a key area that tends to be tight with your treatments, and that is the shoulder point. They're getting better every time, as you can imagine. I mean, you're having nice regular treatment, so it is going to be getting better. But can you feel that there?
Yes.
So that is the very tip top of the shoulder point, like this, here. Yeah. Is that sore?
I wouldn't say it's sore, but I can definitely feel you doing it. Yeah.
Can you feel the crunch now? Now I'm rubbing it even more, it's starting to crunch a little.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll work on it, but I'll be very gentle. Okay, so we've done bits of everything so far. I'm just going to check glands and sinuses. So these are in all of the fleshy parts, the balls of each toe. That feels fine. I'm going to have a look at the sciatic nerve. So that starts in the lower back, comes round. I tend to press quite deeply at this point because the lower back can take quite a lot of pressure.
especially on the sacrum. And I'm coming up the side of the foot, because as we know, the sciatic nerve starts in the lower back and feeds its way through the buttock, or both buttocks, and then down the sides of the leg all the way to the feet. But that feels fine. Let's now have a look at, so we've done lungs, or lung on this side, we've done the eye, the ear, the sinuses, so we've pretty much done respiratory. Done thyroid. Let's have a look at digestive. So I'm going to check small intestines first of all. So I'm doing a caterpillar movement here. See my thumb caterpillaring across the squashy central raised part, if you like, the instep of the foot. That feels good, feels alright for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now I'm just coming down, something we didn't learn particularly in reflexology, but I've learnt it in core therapy, so quite often I'll bring one therapy into another. And I'm checking an area that you'll have heard me talk about before with the abdominal and tummy massage, called the ICV, the iliosacral valve. That's just here. And it feels nice, it feels soft, there's no crunch, there's no pain, don't think? No? Because I can, quite often now, I can tell what people are feeling just by my touch, even with my eyes closed. It's not that I'm looking at your face, it's from what I'm feeling. And now I'm coming up the colon, ascending colon. That feels quite hard there. And then I'm coming across the transcending colon. Now, as we age, it dips. When we're born, it's nice and straight and firm, and the more we age, it tends to dip in the middle. So, ascending here, and then maybe coming across with a little dip. So I'll cover all options by going straight as well. Lovely, feels good. So just a little bit tight on the ascending, that's all right, it's just probably lunch. Soup. Now, I haven't checked liver. Just relax your foot into, yeah. So, checking liver, which is a large organ. It's the second largest of the body after the skin. It's a large organ right here, and in a triangular shape. That feels good. I'm always very mindful of the liver. I always think it needs a bit of TLC, even if it's fine. So I'm being very picky, but it's slightly firm on the left-hand side. So I'm just going to give it a bit of TLC. Update my notes. Oh, we haven't looked at the back. Right, relax your foot. So I'm coming down the central spine from the neck here. This is this cervical spine, down the thoracic. And now the shape of Gail's back, as I've told you before with reflexology, all of our backs, our whole spine, and all of our foot shape at this point will mirror each other. They'll always be the same. And your back, therefore, is that shape. Mm-hmm. So when I'm coming down from the neck, which feels good, to the thoracic, the shape and therefore the pressure at certain points is causing the foot and the back to be shaped in a particular fashion. And so in order to relieve any strain from an adverse camber, as it were, I will try and relieve this area here. So you can see that shape there is quite rounded, and I want to make that as flat as possible. We should have some shape to our backs, so So I don't want it completely straight line, but I do want to try and bring that more in here, which will then tuck the toe in that fashion, like that. Yeah, okay. So it feels okay, lower thoracics. It's just that mid-thoracic there, which I'd say is about T5, T6, which relates to our lungs. And then I'm coming down lower thoracic to the lumbar. Now lumbar here, that feels good. That feels good. Past the bladder to the sacrum, that lovely flat plate of bone at the very bottom that can take a lot of weight. You can see the foot, in fact the whole leg, moving with my pressure. That's not a bad thing. And what I'm doing is I'm seeing if there's any give there, even though the lower spine, the flat of the sacrum, because it's all 5 bones fused together, is nice and firm and solid. There should still be some give there. There are 8 nerves that feed through the sacrum and up the other side, and so therefore there should be some movement in order to accommodate the blood, the nerves, the lymph, all the ligaments, tendons, all the soft fascia around this area. Because if it's soft, it means that any toxins won't pool on top of that flat plate of bone. They won't just stay there, because when it's soft, it means they're malleable and there will be some movement to that sacrum. It has a rocking motion. Normally when we walk it should rock. It's almost like a figure of 8 actually, you know, with each step like this. And so when there's movement, that's a really good thing, because toxins won't just sit happily there for ages saying, oh yes, I love it here, I'm going to make this area really stiff and tight. Instead of that, they'll get shifted and they'll get put into your lymph system and therefore into your bladder and sent away as waste. So me agitating this area makes them go on their merry way. Yeah, okay, I'll just make a little note. Okay, so what else do I need to treat? I haven't looked at the lymph yet. So I'm going to come round to the top of the foot between toe and the big toe and the second toe, just down in a line between the metatarsals. Now this is the cervical lymph up in the chest area, and that feels good. I'm now going to come round to the inguinal lymph in the groin, in the pelvic region, and that feels good. So quite often these areas can either feel sensitive, bruised, tight, or it even may feel crunchy. And they feel okay to me. There is a little bit of popping and movement there, and I will always work on it anyway, because whatever toxins I've got moving, the lymph in those 2 areas, top and bottom, need to then get on with shifting it. So I'll always work on those as well anyway. Right, I haven't looked at here yet. So this is elbow and hip. Hip is clicking on your right hand side, and then your knee. So knee isn't clicking, knee's okay. Just coming back to that hip. It's already better, so the more I work on it and just agitate it and check it, it's already treating it. But I will come back to that, so that's just a little hello on that right hip. Just wondering what you said about dreams and sleep, and whether I can do something about that. Yeah? Now, this is your head. split into two. Pituitary here, brain. So I'm going to be checking and treating this upper part of both big toes with a little caterpillar movement, and then I'm going to be doing a therapeutic circle like that, but also I'm going to be giving it some qigong, some energy work. Right, let's come through to the other foot. Let's check the spine first of all, so starting at the base of the neck, under the thoracic. You've got the same thing going on here. It's not particularly a problem, it's just your shape, and I'm just going to be working on it in order to help so that you can stretch out better and be more flexible, more mobile. Thoracics. Oh, a little pop on the lower thoracic. And lumbar. They feel good. Down to the sacrum. Yeah, it's just a little bit hard on the sacrum. Just looking at my old notes, it has come up a couple of times. I'm being very picky today. Right, okay, and now I'm going to look at the lung on your left. The only reason I'm a little bit more considerate with the lungs is because of that T5 and T6 at the back in the thoracics, that if they do have a little bit of strain and tightness about them, that may reduce your capacity to take deeper breaths, and you may find yourself breathing shallowly.
Okay.
So that's why I'm going to be working on these lungs to try and help you from this angle. Yeah. Right, let's look at your left eye. That's fine. Your left ear. Equally fine. That's good. That's good, because they have been coming up before. Thoracic, not thoracic, sort of thyroid. Thyroid. Yeah, it feels fine, but again, I will include it because of just making sure you feel good, because thoracic and therefore thyroxine can have an effect on our emotions, like motivation, but also how up and down we feel. So this is the thyroid here reaching the parathyroid, which controls it at the top. That's quite tight. Okay, that's all right. Let's look at the neck. Little pop. Did you feel that?
Sort of.
Yeah. Oh, and again.
Another one.
And a bigger one that time. Okay, definitely be looking at the neck. You know, even relieving the neck can help with dreams and sleep. Because of position when you're lying, and always make sure you've got that pillow down under your neck.
Okay.
Rather than just supporting your head, bring it right down here. So, shoulder blade, the scapula. You can drift off at any time, by the way.
I'm quite fascinated with the state of my insides, so that's fine.
Okay.
Well, now it's like...
Yeah. So, I don't know if you can feel that. So this is below your neck, this is to the right side of to the shoulder. It's quite hard, there's like a little ridge there. So, work on that. Now coming to the shoulder point, like it was on the other side, it was just a little bit tight on the point itself. Okay. Slightly crunchy. It doesn't feel as tight as the other one did. Okay. Let's look at that elbow. Hip. Hip's better. That is much better. It's better than the other one and it's better than it's been before.
Yeah, it's definitely better on the left.
Yeah. And then knee. Knee's hiding from me. There it is. It's like it's receded. Feels okay. Let's look at your insides. So, small intestine. That's good. Large intestine, so the colon comes across, as I said before, maybe sagging in the middle, and then down the descending and out. Feels good. Yeah, okay. So while I'm here in digestive, I'm just checking the stomach and the pancreas. Feels good. That's great. Lovely. Okay, there's a couple of things I haven't tested yet, but before I do that, let's check these sinuses. They feel good, lovely, and the lymph at the top and the lymph at the bottom. That's good. Okay, so the sciatic nerve starting lower back, coming across, just relax your leg. That's it, give me the weight. Lovely. I'll just do that again. It's slightly puffy at the back there. So left. Okay. And now then, I haven't yet checked the reproductive system, so I'm just going to do both together. So these are ovaries. And it's interesting, even if people have had operations and haven't got ovaries anymore, we always still check because of the idea of phantom limb, that even though we may not even have an arm anymore, we still feel that we still have that arm. So I'm always checking everywhere despite what the situation is. I'm coming across the fallopian tubes. Down to the uterus in the centre, the womb. That all feels good. And I haven't checked the urinary system, so we'll do one at a time, starting at the adrenal to the kidney, down the ureter, caterpillar steps to the bladder. All feels good. Same on the other side. Lovely. All good. So I'm going to make my cream up now. You can come with me. So I've got some warming organic sunflower oil here, and I'm going to be testing different essential oils to see which works for Gail today. Now, bearing in mind the dreams, maybe a stiff back, and various things I've noticed while doing the reflexology assessment, I'm going to be choosing and testing a range of oils, just having a look which one to go for today. Now, give the feet a really good massage first of all. Get into the soft and the firmer underneath parts of the feet. This is what makes them feel like they're floating on air when they walk away, walking on clouds. Circle that ankle. Great, there's no clicks. Let me do it. Relax, relax. It's really difficult, isn't it? Massaging around the ankle bone. Let it go, let it go. That's it. Around the bone, both sides. And feeling into that Achilles. Yeah, there's lovely movement there. It's good. Nice Achilles, nice and strong, yet mobile. That's what we want. To the back of the foot, the back of the heel, which often gets omitted, gets forgotten about. We need to remember all these different parts of us that never get a look in. See, it's quite firm there. There's no particular fleshy bit. It's easy to forget about. But it still works hard for us. Right, let's start with that back. Coming down, caterpillar movement, down the inside of the foot, along the whole spine, stretching it out as well, and doing some soft tissue release. Stretching it out. Oh, a little pop there. I think that's where we had a pop before, maybe. Stretching out that thoracic. So this is the lower thoracic here, upper thoracic just at that midpoint, about T5, T6, where the bone just needs easing. So I tend to use the big toe as a lever, oh click, as a lever to work on that upper to mid thoracic. Coming down and then pushing those toxins down, 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 all the way down the length of the spine, get them away. We don't want them pooling in the neck, nor the back. Super. Looking at that shoulder blade, just referring to my notes, making sure I'm covering areas that need it. And the neck, 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 neck. So the neck it's nice and warm. It's a bit tight. What I want is for it to let go, which, yeah, it's happening, which will make it click at first. I'm not being too firm, I'm just being hopefully the right amount of pressure and movement to instill that flexibility that we're after, which will help Gail over the next couple of weeks to gain some movement and flexibility in the neck, but also that I'm hoping will help things with outlook and how Gail feels, but also those dreams. Yeah, that's feeling better already. So this is that corner that I was saying, it was the back right corner. That's so much better straight away. It just needed a little bit TLC. Yeah. So with that little bit of hard skin there, I would say to maybe have a go at that with a pumice stone or equivalent. Locate it first. It's only tiny, but because it's raised, you might be able to get access to it. Yeah. Because that then might help. It's twin. Yeah. Okay, so we're coming up the shoulder. I'm going to check that lung out and give it a treatment. So I'm using double thumb caterpillar, always upwards. And it feels good. If a little tight at the top right hand side. So I'm just going to spend a little bit more time, a few more seconds here treating. That's great. Yeah, that feels better already. It's firm but mobile. Okay, and coming up to the shoulder point. Interestingly, more came up in this foot than the left. Although I am being very picky, and more often than not with this treatment, not much comes up actually. And as I was saying before, one foot can feel different to me than the other foot, and this is the foot that feels fleshy and healthy and full of life and blood and the right amount of fluid. Oh, I've just come across a little pop here, which is, yeah, this is the very base of the outside of the shoulder, so it's actually coming round to the top of the arm, if you like, underneath that shoulder point. Maybe slightly more towards the back of the arm and shoulder. Oh, it's gone already. That's good. That's good. Great. Whereas when I come to do the other foot, it tends to feel more solid, like there's less give. But I'll have a look at that when I get there. So we're now just checking over the digestion, feeling really good. I'm going to have a look at the liver again. This is this lovely large area here on my left, but it's actually Gail's far right of her right foot. Again, double caterpillar. So I'm doing some quite fast repetition, but I'm just going to slow it down now and tune in more into healing and instinct and some qigong. Just going to hold it for a few seconds. And the foot is telling me what to do here, so I'm just rocking it slightly, rocking the liver forward and back. The liver likes to be cool, actually, not hot, so I always I'm not necessarily thinking about giving it heat at this point, I just want to give it healing. Oh, there's a little pop next to it, that could be that could be the gallbladder. It's persisting. Getting better. It's clearing, dissipating now. Let's come back. Maybe a slightly different place. Needs a bit more love. Coming up to the solar plexus. So I tend to give a clockwise whole thumb small circular action, and then bring my thumb up and hook up. Just a hook up. That feels really nice. It feels like your emotions are being lifted. Solar plexus is here between the navel and that V of the ribs, the network of nerves, and it's almost like you're lifting your nerve centre here. And it's a nice feeling just to feel lifted, uplifted. And it relates to the colour yellow, so I tend to infuse and think about the colour yellow at this point, like huge yellow sun. Maybe with golden tones. A bit like the paper colour I'm using. Okay, so moving on, I think I want to do a little bit more to the lower back, the sacrum. Lower down, just at it's about S1, the very start of the sacrum, is feeling, yeah, the rest of it feels okay, it's just S1. Just feels like there's a little bit of roundedness to the top of the sacrum, almost like you could put a child's teacup rested on the lower sacrum. And I want to flatten that out. I mean, there needs to be some shape and movement there, but I don't want it to be as rigid as it feels, and it's already going. I can feel that it's going. Yeah, it just needed a little bit of attention. That's going. Lovely. Okay. I don't want to miss out any area that needs it. I'll come back to do the kidney and urinal system. A little bit more of this lovely oil onto the left foot. Oh, the left foot feeling a bit chilly compared to that right foot. Would you like me to put something over the right foot? Are you feeling chilly?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So starting off with a massage. Cross thumbs, circular, up and down the fleshy and firmer parts of the underfoot, especially around the heel, which takes so much of our pressure and reverberation as we hit the ground. And circling into the ankle one way and the other, no clicks, lovely. And feeling that Achilles, the tendon at the back that should feel mobile, soft, warm, flexible, yet strong, and it does. Wrapping my fingers around both sides of the ankle bones, one side to the other, which actually massages parts of the body at the same time, vital. And coming into, it will start at the lung. I want to help with breath, breathing, to help capacity and the instinct to take deeper breaths. It's very difficult to reattune ourselves to the idea of breathing more deeply. We can think about it maybe for a few seconds, or maybe do a meditation on breath, which I do quite frequently. But how do we remind ourselves to bring deeper breathing into the rest of our lives? It's hard to do that. And one way is to work on the lungs so that they instinctively feel like they have more capacity, more strength to breathe, so that all the ligaments and muscles around them and the capacity within the lung feel that they can take in more oxygen. How lovely is that? Lovely. So double caterpillar at the moment, and now a lovely circular double thumb. And a little bit of energy. So I'm now going to work on the neck, left side of the neck first of all, getting my thumb around the base of the big toe, coming to the back corner and round the back of the neck to the spine. That's it, round the back. And now some soft tissue release. Oh, lovely, nice click. So I'm using one hand to hold the very base, in fact mainly on the shoulder, and then encouraging the neck, the back and the left side to move nice and loosely as much as possible. Now as I'm doing this, I'm noticing, even though the neck has released, that the hinge, the knuckle within halfway up the big toe, is clicking a little, and I can feel it grinding as I turn it. When you're having a massage and you're having your hands or feet massaged, it's really nice when the therapist holds each part of your finger and then with the other hand very gently, and it might only be a minuscule movement, move the digit away from the other area that's being held. And it's the same with this, so I'm holding the lower part of the toe and then just to a small amount circling and rocking the upper part of the toe in order to free up and release that knuckle halfway up the big toe. That will really help with, yes, the spine and mobility in the neck, but also with the head. So we've talked about the head quite a lot today because of things like the dreams and sleep and that COVID feeling of lockdown and uncertainty, maybe a little anxiety. So we want to make sure that the head has free access to as much blood circulation, nerve communication, etc. as possible. and that has freed it up beautifully. That feels really good. So a lot of the techniques and styles I'm using here I have self-developed over the 20-25 years I've been giving this treatment called Swiss Reflex, because a lot of it is using intuition with what you know about the client themselves, because it's very bespoke, this treatment, and what you feel going on in the foot with your fingers and thumbs and palms. There's a lot of feeling involved with this. So I'm just coming down below the neck now to the shoulder, worked on the lung, just looking at my notes for what I need to work on next. I'm going to work on that parathyroid, which is in the very top of the thyroid, and again using a little bit of energy here, but also I'm spreading the toe or toes away from the parathyroid as I'm pressing on it, and that will help release it, that will help bring the blood to the area. So this helps the foot, but yes, it also helps the parathyroid in the body, up in the neck chest area. So now I'm coming down to the spine at the thoracic. So this is the part of the thoracic that tends to be shaped, especially if we do a lot of work where we hooking over a table, like seamstresses or people with desks, laptops, keyboard work, telephone work, where we tend to be leaning over. Then this is the upper back that will be showing that shape there. So I am working on bringing energy and warmth and circulation and movement, by working the big toe into that area as well, movement into that upper thoracic. And it's never going to take it back to how the feet were when they were born, but it is going to help with the feeling in the back right now, and the movement and flexibility when moving, standing, even with sleeping, really helps when relaxing. Okay, so now I'm coming down to the lower part of the spine, where I noticed that this side of the sacrum needed a little bit of TLC as well. So this inner spine, the inner part of the foot here. And like I said, on the right hand side there was a little shape, like a roundedness to the very upper, the S1 part of the sacrum. The same is happening on the right hand side, and I am being very picky. It is minimal, but that's what this treatment is for. You're going to work on anything you find, and because Gail's been coming for regular treatments, the bigger issues that we were working on aren't there so much anymore, which is great news. So I tend to look for more detailed issues like this. And the more I'm working on it, the more it's changing its shape. It's starting to click a bit, not a bad thing. And I'm using a smaller finger. I'm just using the end pad of my index finger now in order to locate and treat this very upper S1, which already feels better. That's good. Yeah. In fact, it's getting to the stage, and I know how it must be feeling for Gail, that the more that you work on an area, sometimes it feels a little bit pins and needly, almost like you've been pressing it too long and you're pushing the blood away. So I think I should come away from that area now and come back to it, see how it feels in a moment. So just give the foot a little all over massage, and then come round to one of the last areas I need to check, which is that back of the sciatic here, around the back of this bone. Maybe if I treat with this hand you can see it better. Coming around the back of the ankle bone, always upwards, a little bit of shifting. Shifting round the back and up. That's really good. So it's nice to do the lymph once we've treated the feet, because the lymph will then be working on all of the toxins and waste materials that we've got moving. So now I'm going to work on the urinary system, one at a time. So coming back to the right foot, coming round from the adrenal, nice little stimulation to the adrenal, down to the kidney here, the urinary with a caterpillar movement to the bladder. So that comes round in a little arc, not pressing too firmly, because sometimes this area here, which can feel quite firm, can be quite sensitive to put too much pressure on. So we're coming round, sometimes in a caterpillar movement, sometimes in a nice smoothing, flowing gesture, round and out, round and out. Sometimes with reflexology we notice that the more we work on an area in a single sitting, on a particular area, then it will produce like a clicking or a popping lactic acid. Even the pain might come out in more time. And I'm feeling that a little bit now, so I'm going to stick with it and slow down a little and bring the toxins out more compassionately, more slowly, carefully, with consideration. Going to come round to the other side, stimulate that adrenal, round to the kidney, the ureter and out through the bladder. Lovely, smoothing, rounded effect. That's great. Yeah, no, it's quite a different feeling over here. This foot's feeling the better of the two as far as this system is concerned today. That's great. Okay, so now a little massage to finish off, stretching the back, the spine, by pulling the toes away. So this will also have the effect of physically working on the pelvis as I bring the toes away. Just going to work on one at a time, stretching through the spine. This is a really nice movement. So not too much pressure. I don't want to put too much pressure on the knee or the pelvis, but just holding the sacrum here at the lower part of the foot, of the heel, and then pulling the big toe slightly and away. So that helps with a nice neck stretch and the whole spine, including those thoracics, which are looking better to me. It's nice and rosy. So I'm going to do the same again on this side, a nice pull away, holding and pulling. And the same again, and a pull. Okay. So that completes our Swiss Reflex treatment today. So if you'd like to slowly take a couple of deep breaths in. And with your next breath, stretching out through fingers and toes. Bringing the toes up to stretch through the soles of the feet. Wonderful. Beautiful. Looking great. Rotating a little into those shoulders. You might want to do the same at home. Okay, breathing into the abdomen, and when you're ready, pulling those hands up above your head for a nice long body stretch. And coming down into praying hands position. All is well. Okay, you can open your eyes when you're ready. Shall I put these back on for you, or would you like me to wipe them off a bit first?
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Shall I tell you what oils we were using? Fennel, sweet fennel,
Okay.
and also sweet thyme as opposed to red thyme. So that was
like the smell,
the herb, yeah, which really helps keep you strong. It's antiviral, but also it's anti-infectious. So I know we're not in winter yet and you haven't got colds so much around, but it was what your body said it needed. And then seaweed. Seaweed extract.
Seaweed, okay.
Yeah, which I really like the smell of, but I think it's one of those that you either like or not like. So hopefully you liked it.
Whatever it was fine.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so I'm going to lower the couch. And thank you so much for agreeing to be on video. There we are. Okay, so you can get up when you're ready. How are you feeling?
Good. Rested,
Yeah,
relaxed,
yeah,
ready to go.
yeah. Okay. That's all I need. Wonderful. So,
as my dad would say, tremendous.
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 Okay, good. That's a good sign. Right, we can say bye to the video. Bye.